Ladies and gentlemen, I received a special request from one of my loyal listeners, who actually paid to have me watch this movie.
I'd buy that for $1.
So this goes out to Cyclonus Primus. I watched Terrifier for the first time, and now I'm dead inside. Let's discuss. Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask that you hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
Come on. Do it. Do it!
Terrifier is a 2016 horror film directed by Damien Leone. It follows a murderous clown, Art the Clown, who made his first appearance in the anthology film All Hallows Eve, as he stalks 3 young women on Halloween night, and a lot of gore and debauchery is what follows. Listen, going into this movie, I knew what I was in for already. I also knew that typically these types of films aren't really my thing. Obviously, I'm a big horror fan, but when it comes to splatter films, or gore porn as some people call them, that type of movie is typically hit or miss for me personally. Gore for the sake of gore has never really been all that appealing to me, because I'm always looking for just a little bit more than that out of my movie experience.
Fool this man!
Now, I do understand that these types of movies have their audience, and I understand why people like them. But I actually think that the strongest part of this movie was the beginning, before all the murders start to happen. There's always going to be something unsettling about seeing an evil clown walking around and acting weird, and stalking people in some shady looking location. And I give a lot of props to the actor playing Art, David Howard Thornton, who really brings something especially creepy to his performance.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
And it makes Art the Clown a pretty memorable villain because of that. But to me, this character could be so much more than these uber-violent kills. There's a lot of potential there, and I feel like it's untapped, at least with this movie. This thing is very low budget. I assume it's independently produced, so I'm not going to really give it shit for the writing or the acting or anything like that, because when you are at this stage of filmmaking, you have to make the most of what you have. And Leone does just that, so I will always appreciate him for that. Once we get past the early stages of the film, obviously things take a turn for the worst. And this is where this movie began to lose me. Most people probably already know this, but the violence in this movie is very over the top. I'm talking about cutting women in half in vivid detail, or cutting off some woman's breasts and wearing it as a chest plate.
Tits! Hooah!
Like I said, this is some sick, twisted, debaucherous shit. And it's all brought to life with practical effects, and you know I appreciate that as well. I think the issue for me with the violence is because of the low budget. It came off much more cartoonish to me than it did realistic. So I wasn't quite as disturbed as I thought I would be. Although I can see why some people would be. I mean, I've seen Leatherface peel someone's skin off their bones while they were awake. And that made me wince more than anything in this because it looked that much more real. And again, I'm not trying to shit on this movie for having a low budget. I know they're doing what they can. It's just that after hearing all the praise and seeing all the violence for myself, it wasn't really as impactful as I thought it would be.
Whoopie fucking do. Hey, I'm impressed.
Also, if you're going into Terrifier expecting any kind of story whatsoever, you will be disappointed. This movie is pretty much just about getting to the next kill and nothing more. And again, it's up to you to decide whether or not that is appealing to you or not. Personally, it helps me to have something, even if it's just a little nugget of information that makes me give at least a little bit of a shit about these characters. But sadly, there wasn't really much of anything to speak of.
We ain't found shit.
This movie was not made to tell a story, it was made to shock you, period. And if that was their only goal from the beginning, then I suppose they succeeded at that. I know that there's a second movie in this series in theaters right now, and apparently it's making people pass out and vomit and have to go to the hospital. And I do believe that, and I'm sure it has a bigger budget than this movie does. But I can't imagine what it must be like if you're a random person on a Friday night and you go to just see this movie and it happens to be the Terrifier. Because this type of thing definitely is not for everyone.
What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie?
Overall, I felt like Terrifier was fine for what it was, but I really didn't find myself connecting with it whatsoever. It would make a good movie to throw on in the background at a party and say, hey, have you ever seen this? With the goal being seeing if you can make your friends leave the party. But as far as rewatchability, there's just nothing there for me. I give everyone involved props for creating a brand new franchise with limited resources, but shock value movies just really aren't my cup of tea, so that's why I'm going to give Terrifier the careless Sam Gerard.
I
care!
Y'all be cool. Shut up.